Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about my unread books on my physical TBR. So we are going to, in just a few moments, go to my bookshelves and we are going to go through shelf by shelf and talk about all of the books that I have yet to read, which could be embarrassing, to be honest. Like, I have no idea how many books on my shelves currently I have not read. Obviously, when I look at my shelves, I can see books that I've read, I can see books that I have not read, but in terms of actual proportion of read versus unread books, I'm scared. I have always been a firm believer that book buying and book reading are two completely different hobbies, and I have both of them. So we are going to see how this plays out. We also have a little helper here today who is actually a really terrible helper and doesn't help anything and just tries to knock down the camera. So we'll see if I can do this video without any intermissions from this guy right here, but otherwise let's just go ahead and jump right into it. All right, we are going to start off on this bookshelf right here. I am way too short even on this step stool, so we're gonna ignore that like half my face is in the screen. Also, if the camera is shaking, it's because you are balancing on my bed where Mr. Ollie is currently prancing about, so just ignore that. So on this first shelf, I'm already a little nervous because I see quite a few books on here that I have yet to read. So I'm going to move this and these things, which I used to use for bookstagram pictures, but I no longer do that. So I have read all of these, which this is the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. Absolutely love the series, so I have read that. Have not read any of these books by Scott Lynch, The Lies of Locke Lamora, and books 2 and 3 in that series. I really do want to eventually read them. I just feel like, what's the point if we don't have the rest of the series? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Now, I have read the 5th season and The Obelisk Gate, but I have yet to read the 3rd and final installment, The Stone Sky, but I'm hoping I will get to it this year because I really, really want to finish out this trilogy, and I do love the first 2 books, especially the first one. This was fantastic. This was also pretty good. Definitely middle book syndrome, but hoping that the 3rd book will kind of redeem it for me. Not that it's like gone downhill, but like kind of. So let's put this back. Now from here, I have read The Rune of Kings in the Name of All Things by Jen Lyons. This is one of my favorite fantasy series. I have yet to read book 3 though, which is The Memory of Souls. I've read The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi, but I have yet to read Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman, which I'm hoping to get to this very soon. It was on my April TBR, but as I'm filming this, it's currently April 27th, and I still have to read 2 books. Yeah, 2 other books on my TBR before I get to this, so it's looking not likely, so this might be pushed over to my May TBR, but I'm still very, very much interested in reading it. And then Catabasis, I have no plans to read this soon, but I do know I still want to, so we have that. Have not read the 2 Cassandra Clare books on this shelf, but I've heard really good things, so I'm excited to get to them. I've read Rage of Dragons, but I've not read book 2, which is The Fires of Vengeance, so not off to a great start because like half of these books are not read, but I feel like as we go through, we're gonna find books, like more books that I've read, so I'm still holding out hope, okay? All right, on to this next bookshelf. I'm gonna put this back up here. Okay, so this one I can already see is a lot more promising. So we're gonna start off from the bad part of the shelf, which are some books that I have not read. So I've read the first 2 books in the Stormlight Archive, have not read the next 2, which is Oathbringer and Rhythm of War, so definitely want to get to these soon. My problem is I don't remember a lot of books 1 and 2, but they're over 1,000 pages long, so I'm also not excited about rereading them to remember, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do about this whole situation. But I have 2 books on here that I have not read. I have read the entire Mistborn trilogy, and I have read the entire Greenbone saga So that's a plus for me. Over here on the edge, I have The Name of the Wind, which I have read, one of my favorite books of all time. And I have this like beautiful 10th anniversary edition of it. Absolutely stunning. And then I also have Blood Over Brighthaven and A Sword of Kaigan, both by Emma Wong. Both absolutely adore, some of my favorite books of all time, like especially fantasy, just all around fantastic. So really I just have these two books on the shelf, which I have not read. So I feel pretty good about myself right now. Okay, I'm struggling to fit the entire shelf on this frame, but I think you can get the idea of what's going on here. So I have read the Red Rising trilogy, which is so good. I'm currently reading Iron Gold, so that is technically unread, but I'm hoping it will be read very soon. So naturally I have not read Dark Age by Pierce Brown. I also have not read Dune by Frank Herbert, which feels criminal because I do really enjoy sci-fi, and this cover and this entire book, it just is stunning. So I need to read this. I have read The Martian. I have not read any of the Skyward books. Should I read them? Let me know down below. I really have no desire to, but I love Brandon Sanderson, so I've been holding out hope for these ones, but I'm just not sure. So let me know down below if you think Skyward is worth the read. Obviously, I have read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is one of my favorite books of all time. And then I have this special edition of the Red Rising series, which is just absolutely gorgeous. I love this book. Obviously, I have special editions of them, and yeah, this is just all around one of my favorite series of all time, especially one of my favorite sci-fi series of all time. So I kind of like that it's the spine of the book now. So I have that. This is just one of those like vase things, so this is not a book. But then I have my entire collection of the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. I have read the first 4 books in this. I have yet to read books 5 through 8, so we have another 5 books on the shelf, which I have not read, but they're part of a very long series, so I'm happy with the progress that I've made so far. I wish I had already completed the series, given I've started Leviathan Wakes when I was I want to say sophomore or junior in college, and I've yet to finish the series, so that's a little alarming, but otherwise, pretty happy with where we are at on the shelf. Okay, I think I'm going to be redeeming myself even more with this next shelf because I've read pretty much everything on this shelf, I want to say. So obviously have the Carissa Broadbent books on the left. I've read all of these, as well as my Rebecca Yarros books, which is the Fourth Wing series. I've read all 3 of these as well. This is a special edition of City of Bones, but I also have like the entire series back here, which I have read all of these. I'm currently doing a reread, but I did just finish City of Glass. So I think I'm going to move on to Clockwork Angel, which I don't own and I've never read. So nothing to account for here. This is my Kindle, so I'm just going to move that. But I have read the Seven Realms Quartet. This is one of my favorite like YA fantasy series. So if you're looking for YA fantasy that's very, very well done, multi-POV, I highly recommend this by Cinda Williams-Chima. I've obviously read The Will of the Many, one of my favorite fantasies again. And then the only book on the shelf that I have not read is The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. I got this at Half Price Books for $40, but it's the, what is this, like the Fairy Loot? Yes, the Fairy Loot exclusive edition, and it's stunning. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. So I'm just hoping I actually enjoy the book because that would be quite disappointing. But otherwise, I have read all of these books on this shelf pretty much, and that feels pretty good. We are on to the second to last shelf on my first bookshelf. So here I feel like is mostly unread books, but I'm trying to remember. So I have, hi buddy, Ollie is like not happy that I'm not paying attention to him right now. But I have the Faithful and the Fallen series. I've read books 1, 2, and 3. I have yet to read the final book, which is kind of weird because I love this series, and you would think that, he needs to get down. You would think that I would have finished the series by now, but I have not. And then I have the Chronicle of the Unhewn Throne trilogy. Very, very high up on my TBR, like, want to read books, but still haven't gotten to it. I don't know why. Then I have a random copy of Clash of Kings. I have not read Game of Thrones. I don't know why, I just have this one book here. I also have books 1 and 4 of the Josiah Bancroft, like, Senna Ascends series. What is this? The Book of Babel. Have not read this series. I do own all of them. I just don't know where books 2 and 3 are, but I've not read this series. Also have not read any of these books. So we have Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell, Turning Darkness into Light, and A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan, and then we also have S by this author that I cannot read right now. I honestly probably will never read this book. I just like it because it's fun and I like having it on my shelf. I do want to read A Natural History of Dragons very soon though, so that is on my TBR, like high up, priority TBR. Then here I have read, I honestly can't remember if I've read Razorblade Tears or not. I have thought about this book so many times that it seems like I read it, but I don't think I've actually read this. I have read A Man Called Ove and Daisy Jones and the Six, along with the Fireborn trilogy. Hello, sir. I'm filming a video right now. Okay. He wants attention and he's blocking the view. So, I have read these and I have DNF'd the Daughter of the Moon Goddess, but it has all my friends' signatures on them, so I have not gotten rid of this copy, even though I hate this book. But I have technically read it because I DNF'd it, so. Kind of a not great shelf, considering, like, this entire middle portion is unread, but it's fine. Okay, on this last shelf, it's really just this part of my shelf that has books, and the rest is, like, random junk, so we're gonna ignore that and just focus in on this, which is, lo and behold, yet another shelf of books I have not read. So, that kind of sucks. I have read The Bone Ships. I don't think I've read book 2. I definitely haven't read book 3. So this is perhaps an unread as well. Honestly, I should put all of these as unread because I have no idea what happened in The Bone Ships. And I will have to reread it. Then I have this series by Michael J. Sullivan, starting with Theft of Swords. I have not read any of these. Technically, each book has 2 volumes in it, so I have not read 6 books instead of just 3 physical books, but I'm going to count it as 3 because I want to be nice to myself. Then I have He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan. I did enjoy the first book in the series. I just haven't been intrigued enough to pick up book 2, so we shall see. Then I have Ashes of the Sun and The Grace of Kings, both of which are high on my TBRs, both of which I have not yet read. Alright, now we are on this top bookshelf and I figured out how to make my stool higher so you can actually see me now. This one, so I have this random little book nook thing that I want to make. So there's not really books on this side, but here I have not read A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn, but I have read Stationery Shop. I'm currently in the middle of Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Have not read Lessons in Chemistry. I've read Home is Where the Bodies Are, but have not read The Night Swim by Megan Golden. This sounds really good. It's like a murder podcast thing, something like that. But I've read these 3 books, these 3 horrors, which are really good. Have not read the final book in the Holly Jackson series. I don't know where my first 2 books are, but I have read those and I do own them, but they're somewhere. I've read it, I have read Recursion, have not read these 3 books, which are Salem's Lot by Stephen King, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and this Agatha Christie book called A Crooked House, or Crooked House, yeah. This one I have not read. So, kind of a meh shelf in terms of books read, but not too bad considering this isn't my normal, like, go-to genre. Alright, one shelf down, we have my first part of the Harry Potter shelf collection thing. Obviously, I've read all of the Harry Potter books. I have this companion book that I haven't read, and I have read, actually, these 3 little novellas, so that's pretty good. And then I have obviously read the Lord of the Rings. Love, love, love this book slash series, whatever you want to call it, but I'm a fan of these books and I'm a fan of this shelf. Alright, next I have my part 2 of the Harry Potter shelf. So I have read all of these books obviously, but I just have some fun little Funko Pops, some fun covers, and just more of the same that you saw up there. So I'm not going to bore you guys too much with it, but I did want to show it off real quick and still count the shelf of books that I have read. Another big hit in terms of books that I have read, because we have my Sarah J. Maas shelf, which I have obviously read every single book on the shelf, some multiple times, so I feel very, very good about this shelf, and I'm excited to also like reread ACOTAR before October for obvious reasons. So this is a shelf that I can count as fully read, which is super exciting, but looking below, I am a little concerned. This is the shelf below my Sarah J. Maas shelf. Obviously, you can kind of see, sorry about the weird camera angles, but my bed is literally right behind the camera, so it's a little hard for me to film this with enough space for my tripod and everything, and also like this guy hopping in and out every 2 minutes. But here is this random assortment of books. It started off as a like middle grade-ish shelf, and then it turned into just other stuff at the end, so let's just go through it. I've obviously read the Hunger Games trilogy. I have also read, I think, all 3 of these. Yes, all 3 of the Nevermore, like the Morgan Crow series. Have not read this, which is The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. It's kind of like shoved in there and I feel bad for it, but I don't know where else to like put this book. Maybe I'll just kind of slant it a little bit so it doesn't get bent, but haven't read that. I have read books 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Keeper of the Lost Cities, but have not finished the rest of the series. Are you seeing a pattern on my shelf? Yes, I am really bad at finishing series, but I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying. Then I have Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I have read this. Heartbreaking. Definitely doesn't fit the vibe of the middle grade shelves, but it's there. I've also read It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. It's okay. It's just here because I annotated it and I don't want to get rid of the copy. So yeah, then I have Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi, which I have not read, and I have The Body Keeps the Score, which I am terrified to read, but I do eventually want to get to, so obviously this one is unread as well. Okay, buddy, you're gonna have to move a little bit. Okay, last but not least, we have probably the most random shelf because okay. Can you scooch back? Okay, you wanna come sit with Mama? Come sit on Mama's lap. Come here. All right, hopefully that's better. We'll start with this side of the bookshelf. So we have my classics, which some are read, some, I should say most are unread, because the only one on this shelf that I have actually read is Dracula. So this is pretty much an entire unread section of my bookshelves that have classics, but I'm currently in the middle of Pride and Prejudice, and I have recently picked up the passion slash hobby of reading classics, so I'm hoping I can make my way through these a little bit quicker. Some of these are also repeats, like we have Dracula on this end, even though we have one here, and then I also have 2 copies of Pride and Prejudice, as well as 2 copies of Emma. So it's not as much as I think it is. I have Jurassic Park. I honestly don't know if I'm ever going to read it. I just have it because I love the movie. And then I have A Picture of Dorian Gray, which I really, really, really want to read. Then over on this side of the shelf, which is covered a little bit by this light over here, so I'm just gonna kind of hold it, but I have my black edition of Death Note, which I'm very excited to read soon. I have some coloring books, and then I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I have read. There's Ollie again. I have Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I do own Ninth House. I, again, don't know where this is. A lot of these books have moved around when I move around, so I do have them somewhere. I just don't know where, but I have book 2, and I have not read this. Have not read The Black Coast by Mike Brooks, but I have read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. And that takes us to the end of my bookshelves and the end of this video. So there you have it. Those are all of the books on my bookshelf currently that I have not read. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below how many books you have that are unread on your physical TBR. Me and Ollie would love to know. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next one. Bye!